Imagine walking into marriage full of love, hope, and excitement, only to realize less than a year in that you might have made a mistake. Now imagine coming to to this realization while 8 months pregnant, physically exhausted, emotionally drained, and married to someone who, instead of stepping up, is out drinking with his mates while you're struggling just to breathe through the pain. That's exactly what today's story is about. And let me tell you, it's a masterclass in emotional abandonment, red flags, and why he wasn't like this in the beginning is one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves in a relationship. And then they told us what it means to be a woman, how to speak, how to shrink, how to sacrifice, how to endure. But what if we unlearned it all? Welcome to Womanhood Unbound. I'm Moira, and here we challenge the script. We go beyond the conditioning, beyond the expectations, to redefine womanhood on our terms. Your truths, your voice, your choices, your life. This is where we question and unlearn. Here, we rewrite the rules, one conversation at a time. I think I made a mistake in marrying my husband. We have been married less than a year, and I'm beginning to open my eyes and see through all the bullshit. To make matters worse, I'm currently 32 weeks pregnant. The last 2 months have been rough on our relationship because we have lost track of our life and have been occupied with getting everything ready for our baby's arrival. Yesterday, we had yet another argument. I had probably one of my worst days in this pregnancy, and I explained to him how I was feeling. He calls me after work and says, "Hey, I'm gonna go help a friend move." I say, "Okay," and go home and pick something up to eat on the way home. I let our dog out and make sure he is fed. He refuses to eat. I try to manage as best as I can because I'm in a ton of pain and just wanted to get in a bath with Epsom salt to help with the aches. He texts me and says, "I'm going to stay for a few beers." I say, "I really need you home. Our dog won't eat and I just need help because at this point I'm crying due to the pelvic pain and trying to breathe through it." He doesn't respond to me for hours. Didn't come home for another 2 hours and then also comes home with another six pack. Then he starts accusing me of letting the dogs run over me because I refuse to discipline them by hitting them. Says it's all my fault they won't listen to me. He goes on to say if our baby ends up misbehaving, he's also going to spank her. All his friends said that was the right choice. Eh? His friends also said that there's absolutely nothing he can do for me because of the pain I'm experiencing in pregnancy, that this is just something I'm going to have to deal with on my own. He was not like this at the beginning of the pregnancy, and he was the absolute best to me. Mm, I don't know what changed. He doesn't have an alcohol and drug problem, and he has been drinking less and absolutely denies doing any drugs. But of course, I don't believe anything anymore. I'm honestly at my wits' end and considering divorce. The core issue is that we're looking at the man she married versus the man he really is. One of the first things that jumps out here is how she keeps saying, "He wasn't like this before." And to that, I say, wasn't he? Or was he just playing the role of a good husband long enough to lock things down? Because you've got to see the pattern. So, pattern recognition is essential because How many times have we heard this? A man showers you with love, support, kindness at the start, and then you're fully invested or pregnant or financially dependent on him, and then the mask slips. And what's underneath is someone who doesn't see you as a partner, but as a woman he now owns. It's the shift in the treatment. She's 8 months pregnant. This is when she needs support the most. And what is he doing? Ignoring her, dismissing her pain, and prioritizing his drinking buddies over her well being. That's not a husband. That's a walking red flag factory. The gaslighting and emotional neglect, the level of gaslighting in this story is off the charts. She tells him she's in pain, and instead of showing up, he listens to his friends, grown men who probably can't even find the right aisle in a grocery store, telling him there's nothing you can do, she just has to deal with it. So when we break this down, here's what we have. He disappears for hours while she's in pain. He dismisses her needs based on what his mates tell him. He undermines her as a mother before the baby is even born. He's slowly increasing his drinking again. Translation: this isn't a case of he doesn't know better. This is a man who has decided that his wife's needs don't matter. And once someone makes that decision, no amount of pleading, crying, rationalizing is going to change his mindset. The dangerous normalization of spanking and control is an issue here too. The part that really makes my nails itch is he tells her that when their baby misbehaves, he's going to spank her. And all his friends agree. Let's be clear: spanking is not discipline, it's control through fear. Spanking teaches kids that love and violence can coexist. It doesn't. It's never about making the child behave, it's about obey out of fear. And that's not okay. So, this is how he talks about their child who's not even born. Do we think this is going to happen when the baby actually gets here? Of course it will. But let me tell you something: men like this don't just discipline their kids this way, they escalate. First, it's the child, then it's you. Then we have the addiction problem and the lies that come with it. She mentions his alcohol and drug problems and how he denies it, but she doesn't believe him anymore. And listen, she's right not to, because once trust is gone, it's gone. Now, why does this matter? Addiction alone is a struggle, but addiction plus a pregnant partner you refuse to support, that's emotional abuse. If he's already lying now, what happens when she really needs his honesty? Addiction warps priorities, and right now, his priorities are beer and his mates. A man who chooses to drink over being there for his pregnant wife won't magically change when the baby arrives. If anything, it will get worse. So, what does she need to do right now? She says she's considering divorce, and to this I say, sis, you already know. You already know you can't trust him. You already know he won't change. You already know that the rest of your life will look exactly like this, except you'll have a crying newborn to juggle with him and his mates. So, steps to consider: gather support. You need to reach out to someone safe: family, friends, a support group. Because the most dangerous time for a woman in a bad marriage is when she tries to leave. You'll need to get financially ready. If she doesn't have her money, she needs to start preparing. Even if it's just small steps, they matter. Financial readiness at a time like this is essential. And document everything. If there's substance abuse, if there are any threats of spanking, If there is neglect, she needs to keep records. If this has to go to court, that documentation could be everything. And you have to decide before the baby comes, because let's be real, the moment she gives birth, her energy will be focused on survival. The longer she stays, the harder it will be to leave. Ladies, let this be a lesson. Who he is in the beginning isn't who he'll always be. People change, and so do you. Pay attention to the signs, listen to your gut, and most importantly, never ever marry potential. Marry proof. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel alone, abandoned, or trapped, know this: you're not stuck, you're not powerless, and yes, you deserve more. Now, over to you. Have you ever ignored red flags in a relationship? What was the outcome of that? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked this, please like, follow, or subscribe, depending on the platform you're watching or listening. And share this with other women to remind them that life's too short to wait for someone else to make you feel safe. Give yourself permission to live the way you want to live. Build your own peace, create your own power, set those boundaries, reclaim your joy, and remind the world that self correction and raising standards can and exist in the woman who thought it was too late. And that could be you. And you can always redefine womanhood and joy on your terms. Till next time.